Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace GANGA, PRASAD, PRABHU, and all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. We thank you for being here today, as always. And of course, GANGA PRASAD PRABHU needs no introduction. So he's going to be sharing Shri Krishna Katha with us from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And without further ado, Prabhuji, we may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from there. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Nara Uttamam Devin Sarasatim Vyasa Tatujaya Mudirayet Nasta Priya Swabradesu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhakti Nastiki Bhakti Bhavati Nastiki Om Adyanti Mirandasya Janang Jana Salakaya Chaksuromilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaham Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Simati Radhanath Swami Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Simati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivisesa Nyavadi Nivisesa Nyavadi Prasatyai Desacharine Sri Chaitanya Nano Bistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Payam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sha Sri Rupam Sa Gajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpata Rubhyascha Kripasindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanambeyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sadishi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna to all the assembled devotees. Please give your blessings that I may be able to do this service with due diligence for my purification and also for the benefit of the audience. We are taking our reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 4, Vidura approaches Maitreya, text number 27. Shri Sukha Uvacha Iti Saha Vidurena Viswamuti Guna Kataya Sudaya Plavitoru Tapam Sanam Viva Puline Yamaswa Sustam Samosita no Upaga Vinisam Tatugat Iti Sahavi Durena Viswamuti Guna Kataya Sudaya Plavitoru Tapam Sanam Viva Puline Yamaswa Sustam Samosita Upaga Vinisam Tatugat Iti Sahabi Durena Viswamute Guna Kataya Sudaya Plavitoruktapam Sanamiva Puline Yamaswa Sustam Samositam Upaga Vinisam Tatugat. Word for word transliteration. Shri Sukha Vacha. Shri Sukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Saha, along with Vidurena, Vidura, Viswamurti of the universal person, Gunakata, in the discourse of transcendental qualities, Sudaya Nectarian, Lavita Uru Tapaha, overwhelmed by great affliction. Shanam, moment, Eva like that, Holine, on the bank of Yamuna Swasu Tam River Yamuna. Samositaha passed on. Anugravi Anu Upagavi, the son of Upagava, Udava, Nisam the night, Tata day after, Agat went away. Translation and explanation by Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Yoga Guru Shabbat Jaho. Sukadev Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Vidura, the transcendental name, fame, quality, etc., on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and therefore, and thereafter, he went away. Papa Baishlapu. The word used here for Krishna is Vishwa Murti. But Uddhava and Vidura were in great affliction because of the Lord's departure. And the more they discussed the transcendental name, fame, and qualities of the Lord, the more the picture of the Lord became visible to them everywhere. Such visualization on the transcendental form of the Lord is neither false nor imaginary, but is factual, absolute truth. When the Lord is perceived as Vishwamurti, it is not that he loses his personality or transcendental eternal form, but he becomes visible in the same form everywhere. Ukankaroti wachalan, pangom langaya tegirin, yakripato mahamande, siguru dinatarinam, yakripato mahamande, Ramananda Madhava, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Ishvara, Hare Krishna. So from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10 is Chatusloki, second sloka. Krishna mentioned, text number 9. Machita Madgata Pranam, Udayanta Parasparam, Katayantas Chamam Nityam, Tusyanticha, Ramanticha. Translation: the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. Sure, this is exactly what Vidur and Uddhava they mentioned to have done all night. Because in course of their discussion, they became afflicted by the disappearance of Lord Krishna. That is what Prabhupada mentioned. Krishna's departure. They were afflicted because of Krishna's departure. Now, if one is in a situation of affliction, what does he do? There are two sides to affliction. The materially inclined individual has affliction in multifarious ways. So many things give him affliction. And he may not have any solution to be able to ameliorate this state of affliction. But for the devotee, we have been given therapy. And that therapy is what we read in the second text of the Chatusluki, that the devotees, whatever they feel, whatever the experience is, they derive great satisfaction and bliss by always enlightening one another. This is what we owe each other, and this is what gives us meaning for our existence. Because the only thing that is missing in creation, Prabhupada said, is Krishna consciousness. Nothing else. Everything is there, but Krishna consciousness being absent creates a lot of ambiguities. And we can see this same experience spread all over the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is spread all over Bhagavatam. When the sages of Naimisaranya questioned Sutta Goswami, they were also having this situation of affliction. And when they approached Sutta Goswami, they asked all the 6 questions they wanted to ask. And Sutta Goswami very instructively mentioned to them in the following text, where he said that Susususta Dadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Swayam Mahasev Vaya Vipro Punyatita Nisevanat. The translation says, O twice born, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vices, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. So hearing is a natural gift. Speaking is a natural gift. But blessed hearing, blessed speaking comes from service to great devotees we call Mahaseva. And Sutta Goswami continued in the next when he said, Simvantam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtanam Vidyanta Stohya Badrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. See Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desires from material enjoyment from the heart of the devotees who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous and when properly heard and chanted. So it has to be proper. It is not a thing that we do capriciously or whimsically. The result will not be achieved. But from the text we are reading now, Uddhava and Vidur, they had quality time together discussing Krishna's pastime, hearing and chanting this pastime. And what did he do for them? Mahaprabhu said in the 7th sloka of Shikshaktakam, Yuga yitam nimisena chaksu sa pravisa yitam sunya yitam jagatsavam govinda virahena me. Feeling your separation, I consider a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrent of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. So this feeling is there. The gopis experienced it. Many great devotees are feeling the same thing, but the therapy is discussed about Krishna. And when Kunkunti, in her own prayers, had mentioned that Krishna wants to leave, we're saying here, departure of Krishna. But when Kunti was mentioning, oh Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Perception, to see Krishna. And here in the text we are reading, he said the more they did the chanting and hearing, the more they became pacified. The more the chanting and hearing, the more they became pacified. And Queen Kunti in the end was mentioning, you are leaving us, it is painful, just because you think or you are certain that you have established us. But then we are in the midst of many enemies, and they definitely are going to get at us. So he's praying to Krishna. All those things you did make us experience that are calamitous, he said, let them come again and again. Because it is in this calamitous situation, which is also affliction, that we are able to remember you again and again. And in remembering you again and again, we're able to overcome repeated birth and death. That is the main business here. But for the devotees, is to sustain their absorption in Krishna consciousness. Sita Devi served Lord Ram with great diligence, great absorption, but just one moment of distraction of seeing a golden deer. And the time was close to the expiration of their days in exile. She thought, oh, it would be very nice to go with this deer back to Ayodhya and have it in my garden. And so she requested Ram to fetch the deer for her. That was flip second distraction. Flip second. When Ram left to go get the deer, then the voice came, Lakshman, help, Lakshman, help. Okay, that is booby trap or illusory energy of Ram. And at that point, there was huge separation. That Ram was not there. And then when Ram was asking, the voice was sounding that Ram must be in danger and is asking for help. Then Sita was in big anxiety. That's feeling separation of Ram. So she prevailed on Lakshman to go fetch Ram, go get Ram, go help Ram. Lakshman was duty bound and conscious of the fact that he owed Ram protecting Sita. So he has to tarry a while. But Sita pushed him to the walls by using certain words that are very haughty. That did not change her from the consciousness of being duty bound to Ram in way of protecting Sita. So he used that fiery astra and circled Sita and told her, as long as you are within this circle, you'll be protected. But the moment you move out of this circle, you become endangered. It may look like it's applicable only to Sita, that Ravana came and kidnapped her just because of a flip second distraction from absorption in the service of Ram. In our own days today, we have so many golden deers and we have so many Ravanas that are just waiting to distract us. One prominent one in today's day is the electronic gadgets that we keep. From the time you wake up until you go to sleep, either you are checking WhatsApp message, you are checking Facebook, or you are sending messages like this. They become some form of distraction, and then you become distracted from your regular devotional activities. And that is endangering, and Ravana would take complete toll. So the lesson that these great Mahatmas are guiding us to is that in whatever circumstance, like Krishna demanded in Bhagavad Gita 2 times, out of 700 texts of Bhagavad Gita, 2 slokas, Krishna repeated twice. Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, text number 34. Krishna said, always, he didn't say sometime, always engage your mind in thinking of me. Prabhu, can you help I learn that sloka? And after that, 1865. 9:34. All right, thank you. 9:34. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer your obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, that is the word there. Absorption. Surely you will come to me. Please share 1865 books. $65. Thank you. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus, you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So, how can we achieve this if we are not 247 absorbed in hearing about Krishna, serving Krishna, worshiping Krishna, and then how can we get to Krishna? Vidura and Uddhava, he said, Prabhupada used the word in the beginning of the book of Vishwamuti, that they could see Krishna. They could see Krishna everywhere. Such visualization of transcendental form of the Lord is neither false nor imaginary, but is absolute, it's factual, absolute truth. So it makes us see Krishna always. And so that is why the mother of all instructions, like Ruka Goswami mentioned, always think of Krishna. Never forget Krishna. If you allow anything to distract you to forget Krishna, it is to your own detriment because you become vulnerable. Krishna's illusory energy. Krishna says, Devi Hiesa Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratyaya. Very difficult. Mameva ye Papadyante Maya etam tarantit. But for those who surrender, surrender means compliance to these two texts we have read and others, specifically this. Always. And what can make it always? Mahaprabhu made it when he said, Trinada pi sunichena, tarura pi sahisuna, amanina manadena, kitaniya sadahari. One can constantly chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of prestige, should be ready to offer respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant constantly. Without the prerequisite, it is not possible. But then, Vidur and Uddhava are not in regulated devotional service like myself, those in my brackets. But they are Mahatmas, great souls. They are only showing what it means to be a living scripture. Whatever there is in the scripture, they make us see that it is achievable. And so Krishna's form here that is referred to as Vishwamuti I remember when we were doing the first canto, early part of the second canto, there was also a mention of Vishwarupa. And Vishwarupa was said to be recommended for neophyte devotees. So that's why Prabhupada took time to clarify the point that the Vishwarupa is a makeup form, universal form of the Lord. And it is eternal only in the material world. Vishwarupa is in the material world, not in the spiritual world. But here is a Vishwamuti, the form of the personal pastime of Krishna. Krishna has unlimited pastime. And according to devotees' attraction, Krishna manifests this form, and it is scientific, like scientific law, that is universally applicable. Not only that, they can see it at the bank of the Yamuna, and when they live there, it is not there. He said it is. It is not that he loses his personality or transcendental eternal form, but it becomes visible in the same form everywhere. When I was going through this, the analogy of Prabhupada in accepting the deities, which is Murti, and also the analogy that the post office has many boxes everywhere. And if you want to deliver a letter, you go to the authorized postal box, drop your letter. The post office department will do the needful. They have their timings when they evacuate the boxes. They have their process through which they sort the letters and they transport them to their various destinations, and they have postmen who go door to door to deliver this. This is a bona fide established process. And so Prabhupada was saying that the deity form, Acha Vigraha of the Lord, is a bona fide form that the Lord accepts to exchange with the devotees. So the Vishwamuti that is mentioned here is that Krishna accepts to showcase this for the devotees everywhere. And one very practical example, you can see that all over the world, Prabhupada installed many deities of Krishna with different names, and they are being worshipped on a daily basis. And those devotees who are engaged in this service of the Lord, obviously, if they are what is mentioned, who are free from vices, Maseva, they will be having very, very far out experience of reciprocation from Krishna. So that corroborates in this statement that it becomes visible in the same form everywhere. Everywhere. That's scientific law. H2O will give you water, whether you are in Gitanagari or you are in Nandagram, or you are in Jos, or you are in Ota. H2O will produce water. It's universal scientific law. The same way here is saying, he does not lose his personality or transcendental eternal form because it's manifest in America, so it's different. It's just like one current issue we are having now. Seemingly looks like an issue, but it's not an issue. That the Koreans from Puri are making frantic campaign that Jagannath Murti should only be worshipped on the titi of the outing of Lord Jagannath. And they are enforcing it with threat. And ISKCON is their major target because we are the propounders or proponents of Jagannath Yatra worldwide. They approach GBC. I'm yet to know what is GBC's take on that. But then, after consultation with many senior devotees, philosophically, they use this very statement. It is not because Jagannath comes out in New York on a day that is not TT, so he loses his transcendental eternal form. No, Jagannath is Jagannath, wherever he is. And the purpose of Jagannath coming out of the Jagannath temple is to give his darshan to the devotees. So ISKCON is doing very marvelous work under the tutelage and guidance of Srila Prabhupada that is making the Lord of the Universe available everywhere in the world. But their pre-concern, it has to be only on that day. But Jagannath knew that not everybody is allowed to come into the Jagannath temple. You can only have darshan from a distance of Mahapatita Pavan Jagannath that is outside. But you cannot enter the temple if you are not within that bracket of the qualified personality to go inside Jagannath temple, except on exceptional cases like that of Srila Krishna Bhatt. But Jagannath chose to come out despite that these stringent, rigid laws. He chooses to come out. And that is why he's the Sava Karana Karanam. He's the cause of all causes. So if it is not Krishna, Jagannath's intention, he will not inspire Prabhupada to do this. And Prabhupada was prepared for this even from childhood. From childhood, his father would facilitate him to take Lord Jagannath out, though that on Jagannath Rath Yatra Day. But as a matter of preaching concern, Prabhupada took it further. That's why it's seen today all over the world. But this is a current challenge. And if we discuss, like Vidur and Uddhava are doing, we'll come to the understanding. It doesn't change Jagannath. And the purpose and intention of the Lord is achieved. So there's somewhere I was reading in connection with this same hearing and absorption in Bhagavatam chapter, Canto 10, chapter 31, where the gopis were looking for Krishna. They were feeling separation and they were looking for Krishna anywhere, everywhere. And then when they did not find him, they started singing the Gopi Gita. And they sang this very word, Avakatamritam Tapta Jivanam. Look at that word, Tava Katamrita. This is the same Katamrita that Uddhava and Vidur were sharing. Kavibi iditam karma sapaham savana mangalam srimadatatam bhuvigriyanitye buridajana. The nectar of your words and the description of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reaction and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly, those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. And so in the Prabhupada gave reference to the practical application of this in relation with Chaitanya Prabhu and King Prataparudra, who assiduously sought audience of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu teaching by example to be careful of Visayas. Mahaprabhu classified him among these Visayas because he's a king. He's enjoying power, women, and wealth. See, sannyasis to be very cautious in dealing with them. So he never allowed him to get his darshan. At the best, he chose to invite his son, and he gave Stadia, the son. But during the Ratha Yatra, when Mahaprabhu was in a ecstatic mood, he went to the garden in a ecstatic mood and was reclining. And then with the permission of Sarvabhauma and other great devotees, because they were also instrumental to the king seeking this audience, they felt this was the best time for you, and they blessed him. Look at that, blessing of the devotees, because he was serving the devotees. So they told him, go and meet Mahaprabhu in the garden. Mahaprabhu was there reclining with closed eyes in ecstasy. And the king came in and carefully touched the feet of the Lord and started massaging him. And while he was doing this massage, he started singing Tavakatamritam Tapta Jivanam. The moment Mahaprabhu heard this, he sprang up, still in ecstatic mood. He started chanting the same thing with the king, not knowing who was there, not knowing, well, it would be very wrong, but that is how it is put in the scripture. Because Krishna is all-knowing. Also, what makes Krishna complete is that he showcases not knowing also, all-knowing and not knowing also. So he immediately jumped up and embraced the king, and this is what the king has been yearning for. Katamrita, nectarian. And he was shouting and telling the king, you are most munificent, you are most munificent, you are most munificent. Then the king's desire was fulfilled. And so this is how the devotees who are preaching the message of God, like the Prabhupada was saying, that certainly those who spread the message of God are most munificent. And even God himself takes delight in this. And so we should increase it. From personal experience, when I was a bhakta in Pune, Pune has MVCC now, and there is still the old Pune temple that is in opposite Ladies Club in Tarapu Road. We were in Tarapu Road then, and somehow, due to GBC policy, the temple president who had issues in New Vrindavan then, in the Gurukul, along with Bhaktipad, they were excommunicated in 1987, GBC decision. So the temple became bereft of temple president. And at that same time, Bhagwan Maharaj had his experience, and then all his disciples were scattered all over the world. One disciple came to Pune, British lady, and the vice president eloped with this lady. So the temple had no authority. And Prabhupada said, a headless body is as good as a dead body. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj was the GBC in charge of Pune until his exit recently. And Sridhar Swami, Jolly Swami, was the regional secretary. So when this happened, I was a bhakta then. Sridhar Swami was sent to come and ascertain facts. So he came to Pune, he confirmed the situation. Then president is gone, the GBC policy, vice president is also eloped. And the temple had devotees, there were devotees. But then you can imagine how the devotees would be feeling, neither here nor there. And then we have grocery bills pending. Rent of the temple, because it's a rented place owned by passy landlords, is expiring. So there were a lot of issues compounded at that time, which is what we are saying, afflictions. When Sridhar Swami came, he went back to Juhu and briefed Gopal Krishna Maharaj. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj also, he came at some not too distant interval, and he had invited the two major donors, one Mr. Malhotra and Chakrabarti. They were the major donors and they are really devotees. And he prevailed on them. This is the situation in the temple. If regular preaching and practice of Krishna consciousness is not going on, everything will go down. So let us collaborate. You offset all the grocery bills. I will facilitate loan from BBT to renew the rent. And I'll bring a sannyasi down here to activate devotional practice. It was a very nice time. I feel very happy and grateful that I did experience this. Because in 2006 and 2015, I had the opportunity to go to MVCC, New Vedic Cultural Center, which is like a baby of Tarapu Road. Why? One of these two gentlemen that Gopal Krishna Maharaj invited left the body. He had a Balaji temple, Balaji deities. Both his deities, his whole possession, he handed him over to the temple. And the wealth that he left is what the devotees use to buy the land where MVCC is, and then they build the structure. In MVCC, the Brahmachari Ashram is like a skyscraper, 4-story building. Almost 160 brahmacharis are there. But in the congregation also, they have a lot of rehearsals. Then the Radha Govinda temple is on the first floor of the temple structure. Down the temple place in front, they have a fountain of Kalia. And next to that is a Govinda gift shop. You are not allowed to take photograph in that Govinda gift shop. So you will not be able to go and replicate it somewhere. But then behind the Radha Govinda temple, there's like a bridge to go to the high hill where they install Balaji deities, the same Balaji deities from that devotee. And Radhana Maharaj was mentioning behind the Balaji temple is like a bridge. He said this is a bridge between Vaikunta and Goloka Vrindavan. Radha Govinda is in Goloka Vrindavan and Balaji is in Vaikunta. So the Maharaj came and the devotees continued with preaching, Sankirtan, book distribution, solid Bhagavatam lectures, and then sumptuous prasadam. Everything came back, revived. And that is what has given birth to MVCC. When I went in 2006, MVCC was only the land that was there. Construction just started. But in 2015, when I visited, everywhere was already developed. So what is the lesson here in this story and the content of what we are reading in Bhagavatam is when there is affliction, like Mahatma Gandhi said in his appraisal of Bhagavad Gita. When doubts haunt me, when disappointments stare me in the face, and I see not one ray of hope on the horizon, I turn to the Bhagavad Gita and find a verse to comfort me. And I immediately begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming sorrow. Those who meditate on the Gita will derive fresh joy and new meaning from it every day. Mahatma Gandhi. The same thing applies to all of us. That is the example Uddhava and Vidur have laid for us as Mahajans and great devotees that are living Bhagavatas. Master Prayer Swabradesu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavate Uttamas Loke, Bhakti Bhavati Nasi. By constant attendance, the class of Srimad Bhagavatam and serving those Bhagavatas, these two personalities are Bhagavatas. All that is complicated within it is destroyed, and irrevocable devotional service to the transcendent law takes place and is irrevocable fact. So this is what we can do in our individual environment, in our community, wherever. This is the template. And we'll see that our life goes on smooth. We can sustain our life. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati mentioned, he who has life, the life air is to enable you to preach. It's not for frivolously involving in sense gratification. Sense gratification is because of forgetfulness of Krishna. But absorption in Krishna, Krishna conscious activity is reminding us about Krishna. Then we can have the capacity to perceive, visualize the visual motive of Krishna everywhere, not somewhere. So Krishna consciousness is not a thing of particular environment. It is everywhere. Krishna is everywhere. We can benefit from his presence if we follow the example of these great devotees. Once Kavichandra Maharaj came to our preaching center here in Waka, one of our committee members asked Maharaj, give us your blessings. And Maharaj said, blessing is here. There's no special blessing for you, for me. There's blessing from Prabhupada, there's blessing from Bhagavad Gita, there's blessing from the deities, there's blessing from Tulsi, there's blessing from Mahaprasadam, there's blessing in the holy name. You just, like that author said, prosperity is all over the corner. You just stretch your hands and pluck some. So you have to do it. DIY, do it yourself. Then blessing, you'll be a recipient of it. Blessing is there already. Krishna is there in his Vishwamurti form. He's available for everybody, not only for Uddhava and Vidur, for everybody. Because he is Cheta Guru, the Lord in the heart. Savasya, Chaham Ridi Salivis to Mata Smriti Gyana Punahamcha. I'm seated in everyone's heart. Can make of knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So Krishna will give, but he rewards according to how much impute we make. So that's why I say, Ye Yatama Papadiante, Tamsata Babajamiham, Rumavatman Watante, Manusya Partasavas. All of them, as they surrender, I reward them according. So let us intensify our application of that 1865 and 934, and always think of Krishna and never forget Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Are
Krishna.
there questions, comments, contributions?
Thank you so much for the wonderful Krishna Katha shared with the assembled Vaishnava devotees today. Dear devotees, if anyone, like the speaker said, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please you indicate by using the hand emoji or physical hand, and we'll be asked to unmute to speak or to share. Prasad, please unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace. Please kindly accept my respectful obeisances. All glory
Hare
to
Krishna.
Gurudev, glory to the Prabhupada, and all glory to the wonderful assemble devotees.
All glory to you too.
Please forgive me if my mic is breaking because I'll be driving, so maybe something like that can happen. I'll try to make it more faster. About blessing. Most of the time, we hear about other Vaishnavas who receive blessings from high personalities, which changes their life. So me, for instance, if I meet high personalities, I try to, in my heart, I try to receive blessings from them so that I can develop more in my spiritual life. So blessings is something you have to request, or it has to come automatically. If you can explain that to me, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very
Hare
much. Very nice question. Srila Krishna Pad had mentioned once in some of his lecture that faith without work is dead faith, and it's biblical. You have to work out your blessing, although there's also commensurate blessings that come either out of costless mercy of the Vaishnava or costless mercy of God. Like I cited the example of King Pataparuda. He first got the mercy of the devotees because he had strong desire to get the audience of Mahaprabhu. And the devotees are sure, they are aware that he has such strong, so they facilitate him. Facilitation is also a blessing. Otherwise, if you are not facilitated, it can be an obstruction. So he got the blessing, and not only did he get the audience of Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu embraced him. But if he did not make the attempt, which is work, if he did not work out his salvation, he will not be the recipient. Mahaprabhu is there, Vaishnavas are there, service is there. So somebody was asking, what qualifies one to get the mercy or blessings of Mahaprabhu? And the answer was given, 3 things make you qualified to get the blessings of Mahaprabhu. The first one is Jiva Doya, compassion for all living entities. See that everybody in the material world has some challenge that they have to go through and reconcile. And so you have to offer what will help them. Second one is Namruchi, attachment to the chanting of the holy name, have taste for chanting the holy name. And the last, third, Vaishnava Seva. 7 Vaishnava, that's what we quoted by reading Mahat Seva. 7 great Vaishnavas. He opens all the doorway and he gives affinity for you to like to hear. So all of them corroborate to give you blessing, but you have to make yourself a receptive vessel. Just like he said that God is not looking for able-bodied people. God wants who is available. The task may be Herculean, it may look like unachievable, but if your faith guides you to say, Lord, I'm here, what will God do to you? You are just available, you don't have capacity or ability, but God will put cap on top of ability. You are only available, you don't have ability, but God will put cap along with ability and you become capable. So you have to be available to get these blessings, as we are saying. And the 3 ways is in your heart, feel compassion for every living entity, have attachment and taste for chanting the holy name, and always be willing to serve the Vaishnava. When ultimately Mahaprabhu asked in Prataparuddha, who are you? He said, I'm nobody, I'm servant of the servant of your servant. Das Anudas. And that is what Mahaprabhu preached. Gopi Batu Kabala Nayahu, Dasya Das Anuda, servant of the servant of the servant of the most insignificant servant. To serve means you are valuable and you are performing it. It's not a mental assumption or intellectual gymnastics. You do it, it's doable. So I don't know if that gives insight into your question and if it addresses your need. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you for the wonderful answer, because most of the time, especially when we hear that the sannyasis, when they come here in New Vrindavan, whatever we are doing, we try to go there to take darshan from them. And in our mind, we went there so that we can be blessed, because we think that with their mercy, it will help us to develop more in our Krishna consciousness as we are struggling at this particular moment. So thank you for the wonderful answer, and thank you so much for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. All glories to you.
All glories to you, Your Grace.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else with something to ask or to share? But Prabhuji, if I may follow up with Bhakta Hassan's beautiful question, as you indicated. His question was, should one knowingly request a great person for the blessings, or the great person out of his own accord showers the blessings upon the individual? And I'm not sure if I got that clear answer from you. And so if you may try to expand a little bit on that. Does one have to knowingly approach a great person for his blessings, or the blessings just comes to the individual without him asking for it?
Thank you very much, Prabhu. It's like you are churning the nectar so that we can benefit more. Knowingly or unknowingly, you can get blessings. But the way it is put, do you have to request? Requesting expresses recognition of a custodian. Somebody has something, and if you go to him, it shows that you are humble, humility, when you go to ask. So yes, you can ask. Okay, it shows humility. And it also shows recognition of the custodian of the blessing. That is one side of it. Like Prabhu said, they go to New Vrindavan when sannyasis come. Yes, you can go, you tap into the electricity current that is there. You can also facilitate the Swami somehow or the other to increase your preaching. Is also a way to tap. Without speaking, your action speaks louder than voice. So you act in such a way, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, do not try to see Krishna, but act in such a way that Krishna will see you. So both paradigms are right. You can ask. It shows that you want to. Like he said in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 34, Tad vidi pranipatena pranipasena sevaya. It's an approach. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Okay, that is in line with what you asked. Should we? Yes. But then content of character. Inquire from him submissively. Render service to him. Okay, see the two. Action. Inquire and serve. Other than approaching him. Then in the purport, Prabhupada said that the spiritual master is by nature very merciful to the disciples. Let me just track that. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind towards the disciple. Very kind. So if you ask, you will get. If you serve, you will get. Whichever way you apply it, you get. But he says one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. Unless there is submission and service inquiries from the learned spiritual master, will not be effective. So these two are required. You can ask, you can also act. I don't know if that buttress your probe.
Well, Hare Krishna. Yes, it does. Except that I have witnessed one encounter that is actually also what led me to asking this question. Because I'm not pure, I probably do not know the cause of
That's your humility.
this incident. But there was one devotee who was having so much difficulties in his spiritual life. And another, one guru visited the temple. He never said anything to the guru. The guru just saw him, looked at him, and then called this devotee and started rubbing his hand on his head. And then he tapped on his head, be a devotee, be a devotee. Krishna will make you a devotee. Until today, the devotee is still a devotee. That's why I'm saying that I do not know. Maybe the devotee had been praying to Krishna for blessings or whatever, but externally speaking, and when and how it happened, the devotee had not made any move to ask him for blessings, but the guru somehow saw that the devotee was having some challenges, and he blessed him to remain a devotee, and he's still a devotee today. So
thank you very much.
Both things are there.
Yes, that you are very correct. Now, to clear that very area, he asked, he didn't ask, and he got it. What mercy is the guru carrying? Krishna's mercy. Krishna is in the heart of super soul. And Krishna dispenses mercy to the jiva through 3 platforms. The first platform of Krishna's mercy is that Krishna accepts to dwell within the heart of the living entity as the Chitta Guru, in the heart. But it's not everybody that can perceive the communication of the Lord in the heart. So the Lord in the heart, extending himself further, manifests as the scripture, Shastra, so that we can hear, we can associate with those who will speak it to us and will be benefited. That is second dimension. The third dimension is the super soul in the heart. Again, it comes out as a guru that you can see and relate with. And that's what happened with this guru. So if the Lord said, I'm in everyone's heart, so he knows what the devotee is going in within his heart, because the spiritual master is the external manifestation of the super soul. So he can give to who is deserving. Otherwise, you can also watch that it doesn't happen to everybody like that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I think we have Hare Chakra Prabhu. Please you may unmute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam. All glory
Padu.
to you. All glory to Gurudev and all glory to Prabhupada.
All glory to Guru Angoranga. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yeah. My question is in line with this same question that has been going. And yeah, basically speaking, we hear, and during the last part of your speech, you also mentioned about how the mercy is always available. So you have to grab it. And you were mentioning how Kapchara Maharaj had told the Indian that the mercy is available in the form of prasadam, in the form of whatever it is. So you need to grab it. I remember once Kapchara Maharaj visited us in Kumasi also. He said a similar thing because that one, the Indian person had approached him. They didn't have children. The Indian couple didn't have children. And they approached him and said, Maharaj, pray for us so that Krishna will bless us with a child. And Maharaj said, I don't give children. It's Krishna who gives. It's Krishna who gives children. So talk to Krishna. And the Indian man said, Maharaj, I know you don't give children. But I also know that when the pure devotee of Krishna will, immediately you desire. Krishna will fulfill the desire. That's why I'm approaching you.
Very good.
To desire for me. Because I know if you desire for me, then Krishna will fulfill the desire. And Maharaj didn't say anything. So my question is always when we hear preachers preach, we hear how they say that we are so insignificant compared to Krishna. We are so insignificant that, like, take for instance myself, trying to compare myself with the ant. How would I even recognize that the ant is asking me for mercy? Because I don't even visualize the ant. I don't see what the ant is saying. So comparatively, looking at myself and Krishna, if even I say something, how is Krishna going to hear me? If I'm that insignificant, then how is Krishna even going to hear me to even supply the mercy that I want? But it boils up to the extent that that's why we hear that Krishna being so merciful, he brings someone to us like in the form of the Guru, who will see us face to face, like I'm seeing you. And then the Guru will bestow that mercy on us. Then we can help. So I want a little bit more clarification. That mercy we are talking about, that do we actually qualify for it? Do we actually, I mean, I don't even know how to put it.
Do we have to qualify for it?
Do we have to qualify for it? Or, I mean, it's just given. We don't even deserve it, but it's just made available for us. I want a little bit, I mean, if you can expand a little bit on that.
Thank you. Very interesting probe. The reality is Krishna being in the heart. He knows our thinking, our feeling, and what we are willing for. And he said in Gita, Ye yatamam propadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. As they surrender, I reward. Krishna is the only person who knows how much of surrender that is within us. Once I was in a forum where the Maharaj was mentioning the Ramanuja Acharya. He was traveling with his disciples and they came to a river bank and they offered him prasad. He ate the prasad and the remnant, instead of giving it to these devotees that surround him, he threw it into the pond of water. And one fish just jumped up, picked the prasadam, and immediately manifest 400 form. This is big mystery. And then the disciples were with him. They were struck with wonder and they expressed it. Master, we have been moving around with you. We have been taking your prasadam, but we didn't manifest this 400 form. And the Guru said, the fish has no complication in the heart. All of you have complicities. So even when you have access to the prasadam, it won't work as it's supposed to because there are inhibitions, there are obstacles. So we have to work on that. But then the Guru, being the manifestation of the super soul in the heart, he knows beyond what we can know or express. But then he's also said, he knows only as much as the super soul unveils to him. And he acts accordingly. So giving, like one of our gurus also, that he normally will feed prasad to his dog. And then the devotees are not comfortable with that. So one day they took the dog and went and threw him in a distant place. When the Guru came, he could perceive what has happened. And when they gave him food, he said, "Will not eat. Where is the dog?" They now confess what they did. He said, "Unless you bring the dog back, I will not take the meal." When the dog was brought back, Guru took prasadam, gave to the dog, and the dog went back, come back to God. So yes, these are there. Our qualification may not even be known to us, but the Lord in the heart knows, Krishna knows. And at the appointed time, Krishna's own time, Krishna reciprocates for our progress in spiritual life. So we may qualify, we may not also know our qualification, but the Lord in the heart knows. And he said, I have been fulfilling the desires of every living entity since time immemorial. It didn't start today. But that is in his own time. We cannot put timeline on God's functions. God will fulfill when he finds that it is worth it. And that's why some people, they desire something, and when they don't get it, they lose confidence, they lose faith, they backslid, they give up the process. But it's because Krishna's time is not mature. That's why it's not reaching you. But it's Krishna's time. Krishna knows everything that we don't know. And he will reciprocate because that is his promise. Bhagavad Gita 9:22, Krishna said, to those who worship me with exclusive devotion, it's a promise, like a covenant. For them, I carry what they lack. It is not because they are asking. It's not because of anybody. Krishna knows their needs. He brings it, and I preserve what they have. So all these are going on. We should just keep on doing the basics that we have been instructed and guided to do. Krishna knows what we need, and he will bring it. But where we digress or deviate, when we want to, by our own schemes, calculation, and everything, we want to make it happen for us. Krishna approves of it because it's use of our individuality and independence. But in that purport, Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, text 7, in the purport, he said, we have the quality of Krishna in minute form. So we have independence, minutely. By proper use of the independence, we are eternally liberated. By misuse, we become conditioned. So, but Krishna's own is what is said in those two texts we read during the class. Always engage your mind thinking of me, become my devotee worship. That's our own niche. Krishna's niche is to take care of us. Just like when, what is his name? In Sriva's anger, when Mahaprabhu called Srivas Acharya and told him, you have family, you go and find work and take care of your family. And Srivas burst into huge laughter and told Mahaprabhu, oh, headache is yours. My own is to serve you, and I'm doing that diligently. If you don't take care of my family and myself, it is you that people will make mockery of, not me. Because I'm serving you. If you don't take care of me, you will be the object of ridicule. So this is how it is. Krishna knows what is our niche. We should also know from the scripture and from the guidance of our superiors what is our own niche, and diligently stay in that niche, Krishna will meet us at the point of our need. I don't know if this gives insight or expands the need for inquiry. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it helps. It helps a little bit, but I don't want to keep going because I would have done a follow up, but it's okay. Let
Thank you.
if somebody is there, let somebody also.
Yeah, anybody who has
Yeah.
a deeper understanding can share. That's why I say contributions.
Another Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, then
Hare Krishna.
Adi Nidana Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Pranam. Nice to have you in the audience.
Yeah.
How may we serve you?
Nice to see you once again, Prabhu. So, question has to do with my question has to do with Lord Rama and Sita in the forest. And this kind of question is sometimes I'm trying to replace
You are
together
not
answer, but I'm not
audible.
getting far to get
You are not audible, Prabhu.
Is my network okay? Am I audible?
Now you are, but there was interruption in between. Now you are.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm trying to move around to get a proper network. Okay, yeah. Thank you. So my question has to do with Lord Sita and Mother Sita and Lord Ram. When Mother Sita asked Lord Ramachandra to get her the deer,
We lost your voice. We lost your audio.
Yeah, I think he's having poor connection.
back and forth in terms of
Yeah, you can type on the chat box. Type it.
Mother Sita asked Lakshman. I think that's what Prabhuji was saying.
No, he said when Mother Sita asked Ram to get him the deer, that's I don't. So there's a conflicting understanding now. But let it, Prabhu please type and then we can share.
Is it possible to type?
so some kind of lengthy question, so I don't think I can tell. But you let someone else go.
Okay.
You're audible now. We can hear you. Sorry. I think you are muted, Prabhu. You are muted. Unmute yourself.
Yes, Prabhu. It's because of my network. Am I audible now? My network
Yes.
is not stable.
You're audible now.
Oh, okay. So my question is, when Mother Sita asked Lord Ramachandra to get her the deer, and along the line, Lakshman have to go into the aid of Lord Ramachandra. He drew a line that Mother Sita shouldn't cross. But when Ravana disguised himself in the form of a sage and came, Mother Sita have to cross that line and give aid or arm to the third stage. And I know that
Lost your voice.
the husband is the first God. My question is, am I audible?
Yes. Go ahead.
So my
Fire
question
on.
is, in the situation whereby once wife is trying to listen to the guru, what should be the stand
We didn't hear some part of the last statement.
of the husband?
Repeat the last portion. The question.
But the last thing is, in a situation whereby one's wife is trying to listen to her guru,
Seems a very interesting question, but it keeps
Yeah, there's interruption.
Yeah.
But because of the wife, sister, mother, sister thinking Ravana, who is disguised in the form of a sage, she had to give her arm. For that matter, she had to cross the line. Meanwhile, Lashman told her not to cross the line. So my question here,
Oh, okay. I think I'm getting his question. Prabhuji, yeah, his question is, Mother Sita saw the beautiful deer, and then she asked her eternal consort Shriram to get her the deer. So Ram, when he was leaving, he left Mother Sita under the care of Lakshman. And the Lakshman drew the line, do not cross, right? Then Ravana assumed the false form of a Brahmin, and then he came with there. And then based on being who he is as Brahmin, Mother Sita knew that this is a Brahmana, she had to serve him. And so even though her master, Lord Ram, had told her not to cross that line in which herself and Lakshman were there, she crossed. And when she crossed, that is when she got herself in trouble. So his question is, should a wife always listen to her husband if even it is going against serving another devotee? Or if it comes to serving a devotee, if even you have to break the instructions of your husband, of your guru, you may break it to serve the devotee. Then that is his question.
Yeah, the question is very interesting. But the first thing to know, I was reading something recently and Prabhupada was asked, is disobedience to the order of Guru the highest offense? And Prabhupada said, yes. Guru Awagya, to disobey the order of the spiritual master, is one of the 10 offenses against the chanting of the holy name. Yes. But we should not be unmindful of the fact that we are not independent in this material world. Because we are marginal energy, we have the tendency to glide towards spirituality. We also have the tendency to glide towards materialism. So in Bhagavad Gita 3:27, Krishna was saying, Prakriti kriya manani guna kamani savasaha. Ahankara vimudatma kataham. Iti manyante. The bewildered condition living and thinks himself the doer. We are not doing anything. We are influenced. If we are lucky that Krishna has given approval to his internal energy to take care of all, like he said in Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanantu Mahaprata, Devin Prakriti Asritaha. Those great souls, they're under the protection of my divine internal energy. So we are under the influence of the energy. And if you look at this Sita, Lakshman, and Ram's episode, there is the interference of the illusory energy of God. First, the golden deer was illusory. It's not real. But Sita saw it, and that is how we are taught. On a daily basis also, we are subjected to this kind of a situation. If it's not cell phone, it will be wristwatch, it will be this, it will be that. So many things are there that is thrown at us, and it will just take us away from focus. So we should be mindful. That's the lesson. And Ram going, you can ask also, if Ram is the supreme personality of God, you should know. But Ram came as Maryada Purushottama to play the role of a human being, ideal husband, to provide for the wife. Then also in the same vein, there's a voice that came, Lakshman, help! Lakshman, help! It was also illusory. So there are deep lessons to learn in this, and that is why we should constantly be hearing the scriptures, hearing from sages, and then chanting, so that when these interferences come, we can know. There's somewhere it said to know what is to be done and what is not to be done. We should be able to know. That is how we can make progress. So, but all these are pastimes. They are enacted pastimes of the Lord. And because it's the Lord's pastime, nobody can checkmate it. In reality, Sita was not kidnapped. That's also part of the illusion. Sita, when he crossed, the fire absorbed her. Because Ravana himself has attempted to cross that line. He got shocked like you're electrocuted, and he went back and sat down. Okay, that's part of the illusory trick that Sita now have to cross out of duty. A chaste Vedic wife, she has to give arm. But by providential arrangement, when she tried to cross the fire, the original Sita was withdrawn by fire. And a false Sita was produced. So Ravana went away with illusory Sita because it's illusory atmosphere, illusory situation. He went with illusory Sita. Original Sita was kept by Agni. It took only when the citizens complained to ascertain the chastity of Sita by testing her in fire that the illusory and the pure Sita was produced. So this is David Dam. We should be very conscious always that we can be susceptible. A very good example of this is given in the case of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, he left home very early, exalted in devotional service. He left everything and went to perfect devotion. But like that, the same illusion that is always there influenced him. He had the roar of a lion, and then a deer, pregnant deer, jumped into water and delivered a doe, and the deer died. So somehow his heart was affected by the illusory energy, and he started having, like Krishna, or Krishna told Arjuna, Tantata Kripaya Vistam, Asripuna Kulesena, Visidanta Dambakya, Uwachamadu Sudana. Where has all this impurity come from? While speaking learned well, you are lamenting for what is not worthy of lamentation. Those who are wise, they lament neither for the living nor for the dead. But Bharat Maharaj, with all his exalted position, he cared for the deer. And he went and picked up the deer and was taking care of the deer. And then all this led to his abandoning his regular sadhana. And he left his body. And in his next life, he took the body of deer. Just juxtapose these scenarios. But underlying thing is that the illusory energy of Krishna is at play, and anybody can be a victim. So that's why Krishna repeated that. Always engage your mind. Always. Don't give any time. Boogeyman can get you. Okay, Prabhu? So wife should not disobey the husband, but then the illusory energy can influence the wife that will happen. Okay? But we should not be too worried about the little sleeps we have. Bharat had this challenge, but Bharat came down in his next life as a deer. Even though as a deer, he was conscious. He traversed the mountain range to come back to where the ashram he left his body. But he cannot go and sit down in Bhagavatam class where they are discussing Bhagavatam. He will hang out around the window and is hearing until he outlived that body of the deer. Now became the body of, he got the body of a Brahmana's son, Jat Bharat. Okay, and because of that is of experience of his past life, he now was acting like a fool. He wasn't a fool, but that was his own strategy to pass through this illusory material world. Until when he encountered King Rahugana, then he really exhibits his real person. So I don't know if that helps you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Well, dear devotees, we can hear from an editor, but we believe that he is satisfied. It's been about 90 minutes or more. But if the witnesses have something to share, we may do that before we bring this to a close. This is GANGA to a close. Madhavan Prabhu, please you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Dandawa
Oh, great,
pranam.
oh, great, oh, great.
Agulus Gurang Goranga, Agulus La Prabhupada.
Jai. Please, before we go, in the purport of today's text, the word Vishwa Mukti was mentioned, and it was what is discussed mainly in the purport. But the way I could understand it is that when somebody departs, then one will have a particular image about that person in form of remembrance. But in this purport, it was explained that when the Lord is perceived as Vishwa Mukti, it is not that he loses his personality or transcendental eternal form, but it becomes visible in the same form everywhere. So it's a bit confusing. It's a bit confusing because what you will perceive could be different from what I will perceive as a memory of someone we all knew. So if you can just discuss a little bit, maybe I can get more clarification about this Vishwa Mukti.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. In the third, first canto, chapter 3, text 44, there is the mention that Sutta Goswami was telling the sages of Nemi Saranya. He said, Ulene Brahmana, when Sukadev Goswami recited Bhagavatam in the presence of Emperor Parikit, I heard him with rapt attention. And thus, by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now, I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it and as I have realized it. Learning and realization. In the purport, Prabhupada was mentioning that one has to learn Bhagavatam from a representative of Sukadev Goswami, of which Sutta is also one. No one else. Prabhupada used, this is the process of learning Bhagavatam. This is the process. And there's no alternative. Okay? So what we are reading, Sutta, Uddhava and Vidur, they are bona fide representatives of Krishna, including Sukadev Goswami. And now they heard from each other. And then the more they are hearing, the more this visualization is happening. Okay? So first the therapy, the process. Now Prabhupada says secret. And in the end, he says, once you hear with rapt attention, okay? And with that, you can regulate certain things about you. But the conclusion is, one can assuredly see Lord Krishna in the pages of Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam, Krishna is there. All the descriptions of Krishna is there. Can you see it? The person who perceives Vishwamurti of Krishna in the pages of Bhagavatam here in Nigeria, the same perception of Krishna can be perceived in America, in different parts of the world. But then, let me expand it for our better understanding. Arjuna was knowledgeable that he knew that Krishna has universal form. His universal form is Vishwarupa. It's a combination of all the things that are created in material world into one. It's a form of Krishna, gigantic form. But that gigantic form is said to be illusory. It's not the original form, like Prabhupada said. It does not lose its originality. And the Vishwarup is only eternal in the material world, not in the spiritual world. But Krishna's form is eternal in the spiritual world. So Arjuna requested Krishna, show me your universal form. And Krishna said, Partha, I grant you the vision to see. Arjuna saw it and was horrified. Then he pleaded with Krishna, withdraw it. Show me your 400 form. That's the Narayan form, or Vishnu form. Krishna did. Still, Arjuna was not pacified. But then he said, show me your 200 form. So you see, these are forms. They are perceivable, inconceivable, but knowable. And then when Krishna showed him the 200 form of Shamasundar, he said, other sages, Asita Devala, in the past, they have said this about you. Your Parandama, Parambrahma, Pavitrampa, all of this he mentioned. But then in Brahma Samhita, Brahma was saying, Primanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Santa Sadaivar Daisubulu Kalayanti, Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Guna Swarupam, Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He said, the heart, whose heart is smelled with the pulp of love, they perceive him as Shamasundar. Shamasundar is not the only form of God. Mahaprabhu said, Namnamakari Bahuda Nija Sava Shaktis. Your holy name can render all benediction. And you have hundreds and millions of names. According to those hundreds and millions of names, it's also hundreds and millions of forms. But in Bhagavatam 3:28, it says, Eke Tansa Kalapunsa, Krishna Tumba Gwanswaya. So these Vishwamutis are there, and you are saying we are not all equally endowed. Yes, Krishna reciprocates according to our state of realization and faith. Okay? But Krishna will award us form according to what we can feel comfy with. And that form does not minimize Krishna. All right? So, yeah. But then the original form of Krishna that is described in Bhagavatam, that is mentioned that you can see in the pages of Bhagavatam, is the 200 form of Krishna with all his pastimes. Okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. There is a message in the chat room from Infinix Hot 8, which I think is a coined name, or just, I don't think it's the individual's real name. But he said, Hare Krishna Ganga Prasad Prabhu, I thought I will not hear from you again after the ISKCON disciple course. But now by the arrangement of Krishna Guru and devotees, I'm hearing from you again. It's nice hearing from you again, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So this is
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna, we are eternally related. We are joined together like needle and thread. For we are joined together like needle and thread. So somehow or the other, our paths will cross again. We may have met somewhere in the discipleship course, but we will always meet. And we're always connected. Thank you, Prabhu, for that. Hare Krishna.
So, dear devotees, we thank you all for your patience and your love for Krishna Katha, as you do and come here every day, Monday through Friday. I have no power to bless. We're talking about blessings. But I believe that the parampara seeing our humblest and sincerest effort to try to hear and try to apply. So we may not be blessed today, but eventually we will be blessed. Eventually. So we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace, thank God, Prasad Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us today. Jai.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripasinubhyascha, Patitanam Pavanebbhyo, Namo Namo. Anarkoti Vaishnava Vrindaki,
Jai.
Praise Ganga Darshan, Prabhu ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.